When you're reading an online dating profile, do you just cringe with too much information being shared or not enough or totally inappropriate? Or when you're trying to write your own profile, do you just wonder if your message is coming across correctly? Oh my goodness, this is a hot topic, so I'm really excited to talk about it today. We are on day 85 of our 90-day series of working and focusing and encouraging you to improve on confidence, communication, charisma, community fun, and flirting as we build this incredible community of just such amazing people. And I was thinking about how important a dating profile is about our communication, and the confidence that we have shows through it. And oh my goodness, that little extra charisma does make a difference. So one of the perks of being at a higher level in my membership program is I go over personally each profile of those members and really look at how they are answering the questions we have. Now, of course, our questions are similar but not the same as other dating apps. We're a little bit deeper, that's for sure. And I mean, one of our questions is all about, what does falling in love mean to you? And this is something that I notice people comment the most when they're messaging another member. There's something really special about hearing those little extra somethings that, you know, is a heart-based comment versus all the head stuff that we do. So I'm going to talk a little bit about profiles. They're different on any kind of site that you're on. They all have some kind of different flair to their questions. But the bottom line is getting the message that will capture the attention of the intended individuals you are looking to meet. And this is something that we have to get better about so we're not wasting our time. What I love is that yesterday we talked about pictures, getting the right pictures, because no matter what, it doesn't matter how fabulous your profile is, if your pictures suck, you're not going to get a whole lot of attention. Now, when it comes to profiles, for the most part, the longer the profile is a very clear and direct reflection. If you've been online too long, I have to tell you, that's just the truth. If you've overthought about it, you keep adding, you keep changing the wording, you have overdone it. If you are writing a frickin' novel in your profile, you are so set on trying to overfilter, overshare, over pre-decide that you are actually becoming unattractive to the viewer. So we want to make sure we have a fine, happy balance between too much information and not enough. If you are answering with barely a sentence, you are leaving way too much information and questions on the table. When somebody is reading another person's profile, they want to feel like you actually cared. You are actually real. You're actually genuine, heartfelt person that honestly wants to meet someone. Whatever the intentions are, whether you're just looking for friendship, flirting, relationship, monogamous, whatever that is, it has to come from a genuine place. And when you put an effort into it, it shows. Now, if you've been on so many dating apps that you have no desire to actually put more into it because you've done that in the past and it didn't work or you got burnt out, you have to step back and think, maybe this isn't the forum for you. Because if you're going in with a bitter, stinky thinking feeling, the reader can tell. So take a moment. Sometimes you have to step back and actually take your profile down for a little bit. I've highly encouraged this for certain clients on certain profiles sites because it just becomes this giant cat and mouse game and it's exhausting. And then you start to question everything you are doing. So if you are in the right mental place, you are genuinely looking to project the right message, and you are going to actually follow up on people that message you. What I recommend most for you is to kind of do like a take it off the site thing, you know, do it handwritten at first, maybe you put it in a different word form so that you're not feeling like you're just filling in some random app, because honestly, the amount of typos I see when I've read other people's profiles is scary. But if you wrote it in another word form, you probably would notice that the formatting wasn't very good. because you are way more intelligent when you actually have full sentences, real words, and you catch the typos. People are noticing if you come across as lazy in your message. So one of the big things I think is really great, whenever there's like an introduction question, start off with a actual question. Sometimes like an introduction header, or it's just like a starting phrase. If you ask a question, you have now got something for them to answer. I did this test one time when I put up a profile on another site, and I put in the question of what's your favorite ice cream? What's your favorite happy hour? Or for me, I'm very spiritual. I said, do you know what the numbers 444 together mean? And it was great. Not all the people were necessarily thoroughly interested in going out, but they noticed my question enough to give an answer. We spend a lot of time just putting a lot of statements out there, and we forget to actually put a little question mark at the end and change it up to where it's inviting. Now, when you talk about yourself, really make sure you're being positive. It's amazing how many people kind of slip in a lot of negative words, and sometimes it's just rechanging the order. If your I phrase is the beginning of every sentence when you talk about yourself, you need to work with a little bit of writing creativity. I would say probably 80% of every single profile I review, when there's a section, tell us about you, every sentence starts with an I. We know this is about you, but there's ways to write without starting every sentence with an I. So just kind of a little bit to make it a little more reader friendly. And then when you talk about things, remember that you're kind of like a little billboard on the freeway, and you are hoping that someone's going to notice, but they're whizzing down that freeway with so many distractions. So you want to be memorable. You want it to be a situation where that person says, hey, hold on, I need to double take that information, because there's so many distractions going on dating sites. So when you are writing your answers, put in a couple little fun things like, I love dogs, so you must love dogs too, smiley face. I love to go hiking. When's the last time you took a hike? Like, put in a question along with your statements, because then they have something to notice and interact with. When you talk about what you're looking for, be very, very, very careful to not scream all of your past heartbreaks and trauma. When we say we want a faithful person, we're telling everybody that we've been cheated on. Everybody wants somebody who's faithful. Like, we already know that. Now, if smoking's an issue, you already know that's a deal breaker. So you don't necessarily need to say it. If there's a box to check, that's fine. But if this is something where you tend to date people that smoke and later regret it, then put it in there, because it's something you also need to remember. So there's certain lines that we have that we don't cross, and we're very specific. If you refuse to date somebody who drinks at all, then it's good to put that in there. But if you're doing it because you're in AA, let them know that you're in recovery, because then that gives that person more information. Some people aren't drinking just purely because they don't want to drink. If that's the case, then tell people that, because maybe they're not interested in dating somebody in recovery. And so they need to know that. There's so many assumptions. So a little bit of clarity on things like that matter. If you want to have children, that's important to you, but yet you're also still kind of flexible. Be clear both ways so that they know that you are looking to have kids, but most of all, you want to find your person. If you absolutely, no matter what, will only date somebody who wants to have children, be clear with that. There are certain places that I have found over the years as a matchmaker and love coaching that we can get so rigid on things. And then if we would just open up a little bit, we can meet a whole nother world of people. I had this wonderful client. She's just dynamic, very successful doctor. And she was adamant never to date anyone that had ever been married before, anyone that had children, and anyone that lived too far from her. So to prove to me that there was nobody good for her and that those rules she had were very important, she went and challenged herself to date somebody with all of those three things before one of our appointments. And she's like, I'm gonna meet Jacqueline, and I'm gonna prove to her that I am so right. I don't want to date somebody who's been divorced, somebody who has children, and somebody who lives too far away. And then when I saw her, she told me about this, and then she goes, but you know what? I can see myself marrying that man. And you know what? A year later, they were married. And what happened is that they divorced, and her now husband was divorced, but it was a situation where he was married to a woman that wanted to be married to women and not be married to a man. So that was something that they've actually become really great friends. And his child is actually significantly older. So she didn't have to like raise a child. She gets to enjoy the late teen years, which has actually been really, really fun. And then, yes, he lives further away, but she ended up moving halfway closer to where he was. So it was just fine. And they have their date plays, and then she goes out to his place where there's all the family energy going on. So amazingly, it was a win-win. So we have to be careful that we don't overlock ourselves into too much rigidness, but we have to also be honest that if there are just certain things we really aren't ready to wiggle on, then don't put yourself in a situation when you're going out with people that don't fit anything of what you want. And so when you are describing things, talk about them in a positive way. If you recently had an injury, don't talk about that, because you might come across as injury prone, or that's your focus, or you're always talking about recovering from some injury. Instead, you could say, gosh, I haven't been on the ski slopes in a while. I would love to get out there with somebody great. This would be fun. Or I miss doing that. Or maybe I can find a new activity. We want to come across and show our best selves. This is your sales pitch. It is your moment to shine. The other thing is you want to come up with a few unique things about you. I've worked with so many singles, and I can tell you that even though I have the inside scoop and I actually meet all these people, there are moments I could even mix up somebody because there's nothing really unique about them. So think about something that's unique. Make sure you talk about the things that you do. Even if you don't know that they're cool and different, as long as you enjoy what you're doing, talk about it, because when people are reading profiles, I am always fascinated by the item and detail that they pick up on and decide that's somebody they want to meet. So whether it's a cooking interest that you have, maybe you love to do motocross, maybe you're a road trip person and you're looking forward to going to the beach soon. Maybe you love to read. If you are a reader, make sure you put that in. Readers are very attractive to other readers. So put in some good stuff. And then once you look at it, double check it's not too many words. I often have to tell a client to reduce their profile by a good 30 to 40%. So double check, make sure you have just enough to entice, but not so much that you've just word vomited everything going on. There are some people that think they should overshare. Like sharing is a way to go, hey, I'm just going to put it all out there, and then if they're the one, they'll just deal with it. Well, the truth of the matter is, until somebody's bonded enough with you and really digs in and wants to know all of you, those are things that are going to be barriers for them getting to know you if you overshare, you over expect. So I recommend you pick your top focal points, your best features, your most optimistic attitude, shake it all up and let people see that part of you. And then as you're dating, you will reveal more. Now, if there is something pertinent, something very specific, maybe that you have a job that you're relocating in 3 months, or that you can't have children and you really want to adopt, and that's important to you, you don't necessarily need to say you can't have children, but you can say your priority is to adopt. Whatever is really crucial and important to you, those things need to be in there, but you have to be careful that they're not things that are putting up brick walls, stopping people from checking you out. So add more questions, add more pizzazz, get that charisma going, and look at what you're saying in a way that comes across positive. You know, talk about how you love to have time for someone special, or you miss having Sunday mornings curled up with a wonderful person in your life, and you look forward to finding that special person. So you're planting the seed that when somebody reads it, they can be thinking, oh my gosh, I should totally ask them out for brunch on Sunday. That would be a great date idea, because they've already said they love to go out on Sunday mornings. So you plant little seeds in there, letting people know that you are open, available, and ready to discover someone new. Let me know what you're doing to improve your profile, getting a better message, because this is the, new day where it is our springboard to get in front of somebody. And there are so many times I read profiles and I'm like, oh my God, that person's way cooler than their profile says. So I want to challenge you to really take a moment and do a double check on your profile. Like, share, comment, and subscribe, because you know me, I'm going to have something more to talk about tomorrow. We have a handful of more days before we reach our 90-day goal. I'll talk to you soon. I'm Jacqueline, and I believe in you, your desire to find the love of your life, and whatever form you need, shine the brightest and let people discover what makes you awesome.